Well, this is baseball night in America. The sun is setting on Chicago, Illinois, and it's the home to the world champion Chicago Cubs. A beautiful day. It's cold at Wrigley Field. There are Yankee fans and Cub fans enjoying one another, and there's some of the young talent on display in this game. It's Fox Saturday Baseball, baseball night in America. The Cubs and the Yankees. Now, welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck with the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. This is a great matchup for the month of May, about as good as you can get in the regular season. Talk about good. Aaron Judge has been good, maybe great. Number 99, the rookie for the New York Yankees, taking baseball by storm. Can't wait to watch him tonight.
It's really been unbelievable. Joe Girardi has taken a team now where who told these teams they're supposed to rebuild? They're in it to win, and these youngsters are really helping them. Gary Sanchez last year came on the scene, dominated. Now it's Aaron Judge. We saw him last year, went into a little bit of funk, got hurt, but he has dominated baseball. 13 home runs, leads all of baseball, and I think for this Yankees outfield, which is getting tremendous production, they didn't get any last year.
Yeah, it's really shocking that this team that's supposed to rebuild is really the talk of baseball in the Yankees. Then you've got the world champion Cubs. Yeah, the start has not been what they wanted. It certainly isn't what they got a year ago, where they went 25-6 out of the gate. A big reason why here in 2017 is the starting pitching.
It is the starting pitching, and it's a veteran group. They dominated last year in April, really all year, and that's why they won. This year has been really an issue in the first inning. They can't get out of the first inning, then they do okay. They need more depth out of their starting rotation. Offensively, you know they're going to click. The offense has been an indicator of the weather. The weather hasn't been great, but it really starts and ends with the starting pitching of the Chicago Cubs.
Let's give you a look at this matchup once again as we go to break. First pitch on the other side, whether it's Aaron Judge or these baby bombers, as they call them in the Bronx. There's Starlin Castro, a former Chicago Cub. And then you got the world champs on the other side. They're young, they're good. What a matchup. Baseball night in America tonight. All yours on Fox. Here at Wrigley Field, not as bad as it was yesterday, with winds gusting on a Friday at up to 35 miles per hour. And there's the hero yesterday for the Yankees, Brett Gardner. He hit a 2-out, 2-strike, 3-run game-winning home run. Handed it over to Aroldis Chapman. He did the rest. There's the lineup for Joe Girardi. Gardner, Hicks, Castro, Judge, Sanchez, Gregorius, Headley, Carter, Montgomery. Rookie left-hander pitching for the Yankees. And on the mound is the veteran left-hander for the Cubs. He's bounced around a bit in his career, last with the Dodgers on a 1-year deal, John, with Chicago. Brett Anderson, he has won 2 games, but the ERA is big.
Yeah, the sinker has not been as effective as he would like. It's been more lateral instead of the depth, and he's got to do better against left-handed batters. They're hitting too high of an average. On a night like tonight, keep the ball on the ground, and he'll have success.
Well, Brett Gardner has just gone off. What a week he's had. He got off to a slow start this season, but he has had two homer games during the week, 5 overall, including that game-winning shot in the 3-2 win yesterday for the Yankees. That is down, and the count goes to 2-0. We'll give you a look at that home run if we get a chance here in the first. Gardner, Hicks, and then Castro for the first place Yankees. Gardner hits it fair past first and past a diving Rizzo into right. Gardner will cruise into second base with a stand-up double. Homer in his final at bat yesterday, and he starts it with a bang here tonight on a Saturday night.
Well, Gardner usually 2-0. You'll see him take a lot, but he's swinging the bat good and seeing it good. The 2-0 pitch, he takes advantage. We talked about the numbers against left-handers. Anderson, along with the starters of the Chicago Cubs, for whatever reason, the first inning has been a very bad inning so far this year.
It'll bring in Aaron Hicks. Everybody was so enamored with the stat run differential a year ago for the Chicago Cubs. The run differential in the first inning not good for the Cubs this season. First pitch, a ball to Aaron Hicks, who's off to a .316 start. He's hit 5 home runs already and driven in 12. The next from Anderson, fouled back, a ball and a strike. Here are the numbers to give you an idea of where the Cubs are in the first inning. This season, they're last in ERA. That's something that Joe Madden was talking about with us before the game, and something he expects will improve as the year goes on. 1 ball, 1 strike. The next. Here's a bunt. It's a good one. Tester for Anderson. No chance, and a bad throw. That'll bring Gardner to the plate, and the Yankees lead 1-0 as Brett Anderson couldn't make the play and then committed the error. An early lead for New York. It's a base hit, an error on Anderson, and no RBI.
Well, you don't see many of the base hit bunts going in that direction, but you see the left-hander trying to pick it up, and at the last minute, the speed. You almost felt like he could eat it if he tried to eat it if he could, picking it up there and throwing a changeup past Rizzo.
Well, you wonder how much leash Brett Anderson has in this rotation for the Cubs. As I said, he's on a 1-year deal. They don't have a long-term investment. Here's one down into the corner. This one off the bat of the former Cubs, Starlin Castro. They will bring Hicks all the way around. 2-0 New York on a pair of doubles, a single, and an error. And another poor start for Chicago here out of the gate, this time with Anderson on the mound.
The Yankees feeding off of yesterday's come from behind victory, picking on the fastball and that 2-seamer that really has not developed into that depth ground ball type pitch that we come used to seeing him throw. And Zobrist in right instead of Hayward. Doesn't matter, the ball perfectly placed by Castro.
Still nobody out, and Aaron Judge, the guy who we focused on coming on the air, fouls it away for strike 1. This kid, the rookie, is leading baseball in home runs. He's leading the American League in runs scored. And Matt Holliday, his 37-year-old veteran teammate, said he's the most gifted young player he's ever been around, and kind of walked that back a bit. That's how these Yankees view Aaron Judge, who is big at 6'7", 280 pounds, and you see he's the first Yankee rookie to lead baseball in home runs at any point in a season, which is hard to believe. 1-1 pitch, strike two.
Well, as a pitcher, when you're standing on the mound, you love his strike zone, or at least the appearance of his strike zone. At 6'8", you go, man, that looks really good. But then when you see what he does to a baseball, it doesn't feel good, knowing if you make a mistake over the middle of the part of the plate, he is going to crush it.
1-2 pitch. Good pitch, down and in, struck him out. And the first out of the inning is a strikeout for Brett Anderson.
Anderson went to his changeup and then his slider down the back foot. That's what you have to do to any guy who is loving making a living over the middle part of the plate. He's cut down on his strikeouts in a short. You know, this guy has only had less than a year in the big leagues. He's already doing some amazing stuff.
That is his 30th strikeout. 93rd at bat, and a pitch down and into Gary Sanchez, who was welcomed back here in this series in Chicago after getting injured right out of the gate. The team was 1-4, and he went down on the 8th of April with a bicep strain. Had to sit on the shelf, had a good rehab assignment, and here he is making back-to-back starts. 1-0 pitch is in for a strike from Anderson.
And I wouldn't pay attention to those numbers with or without him in the lineup. Without him, they've done really well, but that is not going to be a true indicator. They need this guy to get maybe 3/4 of what he was last year when he carried the team, hitting record number of home runs from July on.
A swinging strike in the count, 1-2. The Cubs made a roster move before the game, and the guy they brought up, Rob Zastryzny, is up, getting loose for Joe Maddon here in the first inning. Maybe we'll get a chance to go down the path I was headed down a moment ago with regard to Brett Anderson, but they're only on a 1-year deal with him. He allowed 4 runs in the first inning. In his last start against Philly, allowed 3 more, didn't get through the 7th in his last, or in the second, and that's his last start against Philadelphia. Now here he is in a struggle in the first inning against the Yankees, and that's fair. Past third, and that will score Starlin Castro easily. It's 3-0 Yankees on an RBI base hit by Gary Sanchez. And after not getting out of the second in his last start, Anderson is going to have to work hard to get through the first here tonight.
Abbreviated leg kick, foot gets down, pitch is still up, pulls it down the line for an RBI single. Something I'm sure there's going to be more of those for the Yankees. Keep getting them on. They do it better than anybody so far. Their on base percentage is unbelievable. It's why they come back. It's why they rally. And unfortunately for Chicago, you need length out of Anderson. Their bullpen has been exhausted, and it's not a good start to give up 3 in the first. Well documented what they've done so far this year. Starters battle after the first, but they don't give them length.
Here's a little floater into left that's going to get down fair. Holding at second is Sanchez. It's another hit for the Yankees. Gregorius gets it. Adds to a .321 average, and we'll see if Joe Maddon wants to go any deeper into this game with Anderson. Those keys to the game were sponsored by Ford, and it's happening again with regard to Cubs starting pitching. Getting knocked around in the first inning on a day where they need, as you say, John, length. Their bullpen is tired.
Yeah, they definitely have to get some length. I mean, it might be ugly length, but Brett Anderson's been around long enough to know that he has to endure whatever this start of this game is and provide some innings for Joe Maddon.
2 on, still only 1 out, and the Yankees, who lead their league in home runs with 45, number 2 in the American League to Houston in average, have Chase Headley at the plate, the switch hitting third baseman. 0-1 pitch. Bounces in, a ball and a strike.
So the two things that have been consistent so far, really the three things, have been left-handed batters are hitting way too high off of Brett Anderson. Runners in scoring position way too high so far. Coming into the game 414, and with 2 outs 462. So something's not comfortable for Anderson when the runners get on base. Tension or any kind of forced movement when you don't have the natural two-seam sink that he's used to, and in these conditions, windy, it makes difficult opportunities for Anderson to do what he's normally can do, and that's get a sinker down.
Headley, you hit 253 last year with 14 home runs, just 51 RBIs, waits and takes. Another one in the dirt. The count's 3-1, and you get the sense that Anderson is very much on the ropes with Zastryzny just up from AAA. The Cubs had to designate Matt Caesar. That means they'll likely lose him. He's out of options, so it's a costly roster move for Chicago. They like Caesar. That's a foul tip and the count full.
You can just see early on the feel coming out in the first inning. And again, if you're new to Wrigley Field for some reason, the bullpens used to be outdoors and down the line. Now they're in a very controlled environment underneath the bleachers. So you don't have the same environment warming up. I'm not saying that contributes to the first inning issues tonight for Anderson, but he just hasn't come out with feel on his changeup, feel on the fastball and the sinker.
Now the right-hander Felix Pena, who came up yesterday, is getting loose. 3-2 pitch.
That's into right field, a base hit. Digging for third is Sanchez. He'll score. The ball gets by Zobrist, and all the way around is Gregorius flying to the plate. 2 more runs, and over to third goes Headley. What a first inning for the Yankees as they lead 5-0 here at Wrigley Field.
Well, Gregorius scores here with 2 outs. He kind of freezes to see if the ball's going to get caught. Doesn't matter with 2 outs. And this ball was perfectly placed. See how he froze right there to see if Rizzo was going to catch it. You don't need to do that with 2 outs, but it didn't matter once the ball got by Zobrist. That was going to be an easy run for the speed of Didi Gregorius.
And that's going to bring a visit. We'll see if it means a pitching change here. And now they're going to say if it's, well, it could be an injury situation.
They're going to bring in Joe West.
You could see Chris Bryant came out and said it's the back of Brett Anderson. 9 times on the disabled list for Brett Anderson. That's been his problem, staying healthy, and now he must have said something to Bosio to indicate that his back is bothering him, and that's going to be it for Anderson. He allowed 4 runs in the first inning in his last start against Philly. He's allowed 5 and is responsible for the runner at third, and there's only 1 out in the inning. Chris Carter is coming up, and Felix Pena, the right-hander, is coming in. It's an impressive start to this game after an impressive ending to yesterday's game for the Yankees. They come up with 5. They have a chance for more. Hits by Gardner, Hicks, Castro, Sanchez, Gregorius, Headley, who's standing at third, only 1 out in the inning. Chris Carter will be the hitter against Felix Pena, who was closing games, 4 saves at Iowa, a 1.86 ERA. And that's an interesting stat. If there is age on this Cubs roster, it's with their starting rotation, and they're going to have more questions about Brett Anderson, whether it's a bad back or it's just being ineffective. That is 2 really poor starts back to back for the veteran left-hander.
Yeah, and I was got to correct something I said. I was more hopeful that he had 2 outs in the inning. He only had 1, so Didi did have to wait to see if that ball was caught.
Batter now is Chris Carter, and he takes a pitch inside for ball 1.
Well, Felix Pena, a little bit of a long arm delivery, pretty good fastball, throws a slider, closer to a curveball mix. He relies on those 2 pitches.
That catches the inside corner. It's a ball and a strike. Infield is in. Don't want to fall any further behind. Realize that on the other side, rookie left-hander Jordan Montgomery, who was a non-roster invitee to spring training, is getting the start for the Yankees tonight. Here's a 1-1. High pop-up on the infield. And who's going to be the person to corral it? It's Baez for out number 2.
It's funny to watch all the infielders on a ball that goes straight up, started out maybe at the depth of second base, ended up short of the mound. And each one of them knew, according to Joe Madden, this guy is not only the best tagger in the game, he is one of the best at catching pop-ups. That may seem elementary, but in these conditions and this ballpark, it's never easy when the ball goes up in the air.
The rest of the guys were just hopeful that Baez was going to take charge, and he did. Runner at third, 2 out now, and the pitcher, who's got a 5-run lead, is at the plate. Jordan Montgomery 0 for 1 on the year. Throws left, bats left, made the Yankees in essence out of camp. He outperformed the competition and got that 5th starter spot. That's in at the knees. The count 1 ball 1 strike. When we talk about the Cubs pen being tired, Mike Montgomery threw 45 pitches on Thursday in that extra inning win against Philadelphia. Hector Rondon, who got the loss yesterday, threw 40. That's why they were hopeful for some length out of their starter Brett Anderson, and he got only 1 out. 1 and 2 now from Felix Pena to Jordan Montgomery.
Well, in the National League, when you come to the plate in the first inning, high probability of success you're going to win that game.
Here's a 1-2, and a strikeout ends the inning, so Pena limits the damage. Bottom of the first inning, Cubs will bat for the first time, down by 5. what do you got? Bottom of the first inning rolls in. Here's his lineup. Ben Zobrist will lead it off, and then that guy, Kris Bryant, who went deep yesterday. Anthony Rizzo hits third. The young shortstop, Addison Russell, Wilson Contreras, Albert Almora Jr., Javier Baez. Anderson was in there. We can take him out. John Jay is in left field, batting ninth. So the pitcher is in the number 8 spot, and they've already had to make a change there. Felix Pena is batting 8th. Here's Jordan Montgomery, and when you hear, John, comparisons that his manager Joe Girardi has for him, he's a big-bodied left-hander. He said, yeah, maybe Pettit because he's wearing the Yankee uniform, but more of a Chuck Finley, John Smiley type. They really like what they have with this young left-hander.
Yeah, they like his composure, you know, the exterior. Maybe doesn't have 4 pitches all working at once, but he's not rattled by anything. And I really like his makeup. I do like the fastball, curveball, changeup, slider combination. He'll sink it away to right-handers, four-seam it in. He won't give the hitter any kind of 3 in a rows. So this guy pitched at a high level at South Carolina, now at a much higher level in the Yankees rotation.
4th round pick out of South Carolina back in just 2014. Here he is in the big leagues, and he misses down and away, ball 1 to Ben Zobrist. Last year, Jordan Montgomery was 14-5 with a 2.13 ERA between AA and AAA. He was almost unhittable at AAA. That's over the inside corner. Had an ERA of under 1. Went 5-1. As I said, he had a very good spring training. Showed the Yankees what he was all about. And he is their number 5 starter. Here's a 1-1 pitch. That's in for a strike at 92. It's 1-2.
Well, with his size and release point, he gets out there at about 6.3 feet in extension. Everything comes out of the same slot. Hard to pick up when he's got his pitches working.
Here's his 1-2. Zobrist is fooled and strikes out. Good start to the inning for Jordan Montgomery after his teammates got him 5 runs.
Well, pitching to the corners, changing speeds. This left-hander has picked up some miles per hour in the last year, but he's not going to be one that overwhelms you with velocity. He's going to be one that pitches. And that is something we don't talk about very often in our game. We talk about how hard someone throws and the electric stuff.
Here's Bryant. Homered yesterday in his first at bat. Kind of got off to a slow start, but everybody freaks out after a couple of weeks of the Major League Baseball season. Hit .212, but the reigning NL MVP has been on a tear since. Last 16 games hitting over 400. 4 of his 6 home runs. That's outside. 2-0.
Very unique style of batting and how he squats.
3-0.
We asked Joe Madden. I asked him. I said, you know, what do you compare him to? Not a lot of big guys that squat down. And he said, as long as he's squatting down and keeping his back erect, that allows him to lift the ball and do the things he has to do. He doesn't want him bending over. Much like a McGuire. McGuire had that squat and incredible lift of power.
That is a borderline pitch for a strike. 3-1.
So the base is important not only for pitchers but for hitters, and so his legs being on the taller side, I would think that stay pretty strong and firm in your foundation.
3-1 pitch is lifted in the air to right, and from a near walk to out number 2 as Judge hauls it in. Base is empty for Anthony Rizzo. This Cubs rotation may look different after the trading deadline. We're going to get into some of this stuff with Ken Rosenthal, who is down there freezing in the dugout on this windy Chicago day as we go along here. It is a very young everyday lineup for the Cubs. It is a, let's say, veteran starting rotation for the Chicago Cubs with some question marks. That's outside to Rizzo, ball 1.
And that's why when everyone asks, you know, and even trying to predict the year before it starts, I said that I think the Cubs are going to be better as a team, but not win more games, because what they did last year is hard to reproduce. And what I mean by that is their starting veteran staff's not going to get rattled by their start, but they got a year-long usage out of Wade Davis, a closer. They've got the year-long, even though it has to start out well with Schwarber, you know, he was missing most of the year because of a knee injury.
Rizzo, who's right on top of the plate, takes a strike in the count 1-2.
So I think their bullpen's going to be better. I don't think their starting staff can live up to what they did last year, but they're still going to be solid. So this is still the team to beat, not only in the Central, but I still think in the National League, despite them not clicking early.
1-2 pitch is fouled away, and the other part of it is they are so clearly the best team in the NL Central that they can basically do what they want, at least in my opinion, over the first 3 months of the season, settle in, see where they are, and then go from there. But they should easily win the Central Division with the kind of talent they put out there every day as the count stays 1-2 on Rizzo.
Yeah, and I think that might not bode well for a lot of teams that think they can compete in that division. A lot of things would have to go wrong for that not to be the case for the Chicago Cubs.
1-2 pitch is tipped to keep the at bat alive. Rizzo is off to a .235 start, 6 home runs. Trying to get on with 2 out as he just got a piece of it.
The unusual choked up approach. Rizzo's been on a kind of a streaky year. Hot in the middle, cold right about now. Looking to get going again.
That's high, 2-2. Cubs start this game without Jason Hayward, who would have started against the left-hander, according to Joe Madden. He has a jammed finger from yesterday, and without Kyle Schwarber, the left-handed hitter, against Montgomery, who deals and gets a ground ball to the right side. That's the former Cub Starlin Castro. Good start to the game for Jordan Montgomery after 1. 5-zip New York. Sponsored by Bud Light, famous among friends. Beautiful night in Chicago. Glad the rain has moved out of the Midwest. It is chilly, but very pleasant here in this great city, home of the world champion Cubs. And here is Brett Gardner, who got the scoring started in the first inning with a double. Last 2 innings, the Yankees have put up 8 runs on 9 hits. 9th inning yesterday, the first inning here tonight. Gardner takes a fastball for a strike at 94. Gardner, Hicks, and Castro, if anybody gets on Aaron Judge against Felix Pena.
Yeah, with the conditions yesterday in the 9th inning and 2 outs, Rondon on the mound and throwing fastballs kind of by Gardner, throws him a down and in slider that he hits for a 3-run homer.
That's out of play, strike 2.
And it's become the theme, really, when you think early on of the Yankees. They have had some unbelievable rallies. This is probably the only pitch he could have hit for a home run, but it was the pitch he got, and he didn't miss it. And it's been the theme for the Yankees. He's heated up, hit a lot of home runs late. Judge has carried them. They've had rally after rally. And seeing Joe Girardi, with all that he's had to deal with in the past, this seems like, I don't want to say stressless, but a much more enjoyable scenario for him and the youth of that team.
Well, there's so much to talk about with regard to Girardi and the general manager Brian Cashman and what they have. Cashman has delivered as they divested of so many high-priced players. That's on the outside corner, 1 away. And a strikeout for Felix Pena. But Joe Girardi and Brian Cashman are each at the ends of their deals. So Joe Girardi, who grew up a Cubs fan, his 10th season as the Yankees manager, played at nearby Northwestern, got to the big leagues with the Cubs, went right into the playoffs that first year in '89 in a NLCS loss to the Giants. He was a terrific catcher in the big leagues, and now he's become a really good manager. And you think, John, back to 2006 when Girardi started as a manager with a Florida Marlins team. It was really young. Some people thought they might lose 100 games. He ended up winning 78, losing 84. As the batter is Aaron Hicks, and the count 1 ball 1 strike. They had Hanley Ramirez, Miguel Cabrera, but they were young. Ended up getting fired, moving on to the Yankees and winning a world championship in 2009, and now they've got all this youth. That's fair. And they love this kid, Aaron Hicks, who plants it down the left field line, and a good play by John Jay holds Hicks to a 1-out single. But I think he's the right guy. He's done it with young players before. He doesn't panic talking about Girardi, and this kid Hicks they got before last year is some kind of young player.
Yeah, everything's working right now and a lot more enjoyable when you come back and win games. And I talked to him about the stress of aging superstars and guys and icons retiring. It seemed like one year after another they were losing that identity of their ball club that made them so great, and now they're creating their own. Now you've got the Gary Sanchez's and Aaron Judge.
And a young Starlin Castro. He's only 27.
That's the hard thing to imagine. He's been, it seems like he's been around forever. Obviously with the Cubs.
He was a really good player on some bad teams here in Chicago. 3-time All-Star, the National League. And he's leading the American League in hits. He doubled, drove home a run, and later scored a run last inning. He's hitting .373. So he piled up 991 hits in his time here with Chicago. 1-0 pitch. That is hit on a line out to center and caught by Almora. A loud second out. Can't hit it any harder than that. And the batter will be Aaron Judge, who struck out his first time.
Yeah, the irony of all that damage in the first inning and he struck out. I was watching batting practice and the wind was absolutely howling, and you could not tell when he was in taking BP. He made the wind look obsolete. We talk about exit velocity. We get a little too carried away with it at times, but this guy, exit velocity off the bat, it's about the best in the league right now.
1 on, 2 out. And a strike hits the outside corner. If you, John Smoltz, Hall of Fame pitcher, were on the mound and you were facing a guy 6'7", this big. You're looking for holes in this swing. How would you go at him?
Well, the first pitch would be exactly what he just did, and then I would look to elevate, crowd and elevate, and then getting to chase with off speed. The reason I say crowd and elevate is because what I've watched video wise, he has destroyed anything over the plate. He's a tall, powerful, young, low base hitter that Joe Girardi said that with his legs it's easier to hit the ball lower with power. I've yet to see him do, or anybody try to challenge him up at the belt or above. 6'8" is awfully enticing, but he hasn't chased up there, so that's the hard part.
2 out in the inning in the 0-2. Fouled back and a huge rip by Judge.
That was a mistake on a breaking ball that was lucky went behind him and not forward. It was similar to Dave Winfield as we look at this breaking ball that spins and doesn't go the right way. Dave Winfield was about his size, stood off the plate and invited you to throw the ball away. Tremendous space between where his feet were and the outside corner, but that's where he loved it. You had to get the ball in against Dave Winfield, but he baited you to get the ball out. His long arms, athletic build, he would go out there, and of course Hall of Famer did the rest. This guy will have to learn how to adjust once certain hitters start exposing a little bit of a window of opportunity of success for the pitchers.
Runner is going. That's Hicks. Good pitch that he picked. It's in the dirt. Back to the backstop. And Aaron Hicks has a steal here to get down to second with 2 out.
Great jump, and he stole it on the pitcher. Even if Contreras would have come up with it with his cannon, he wouldn't have been able to do much.
I would bet Joe Girardi, and this time we have a Yankee game, I'm going to ask him, I would bet he enjoys the youth of this team, the versatility of this team, starting runners, getting some action on the bases. I mean, he's a National League kind of guy to his core, and starting runners, taking extra bases. That's a 4th steal already for Aaron Hicks. And getting a front row seat for the Aaron Judge show as he pops one into shallow right. Baez is out to get it, and the inning's over. Let's go to the bottom of the second. Hardly order coming up for the Cubs. 5-0 Yankees. $15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Well, the Cubs would like to get on the scoreboard here and make themselves feel better about the early going here against the Yankees after the Yankees won yesterday 3-2. Here's Addison Russell with Contreras and Almora to follow. 5-0 New York for Montgomery, and he hits the inside corner for strike one. Addison off to a .241 start, 2 homers, 15 RBIs. The young shortstop bats cleanup here tonight. Takes low, a ball and a strike. Montgomery with another, and a fly ball into center that will carry for the out. Nice catch by Aaron Hicks in center, 1 down.
Much easier to pitch in this game when you're given a nice 5 spot in the first inning. Attack the hitters, wind's blowing in, and then get some defense like this out of your outfield, which offensively has been outstanding for the Yankees. But that's the big difference. If anyone wants to know the difference between the Cubs now and the Cubs last year, they were beating people to death because their starters came out, dominated, their offense just added on, and now they're having to come back in a lot of games because of what we talked about in the first inning, troubles.
Here's Wilson Contreras, the young catcher for the Cubs, takes a pitch in the dirt. Ken Rosenthal, as I mentioned, is down in the dugout. I sense, Kenny, this is going to be a different looking rotation the second half of the year with Chicago. If that's the case, if you agree, where are they looking to maybe make a deal, albeit this is only the first week of May?
Joe, I do agree with you. And the situation as it is this. Arrieta, free agent at the end of the year. Lackey, free agent at the end of the year. John Lester, 34 next season. They need controllable starters, and they've got the position prospects still, even after making the Chapman trade last year, to get that kind of pitcher. Who am I talking about? Jeimer Candelario, third baseman, AAA. He is stuck behind Kris Bryant. Eloy Jimenez, he's an outfielder and a guy that the Cubs really like, but he's a corner outfielder, and they've got Schwarber and Hayward long term. And then there's Ian Happ, who is probably the player they are least likely to trade, or the one they don't want to trade. Switch hitting infielder outfielder could be their next Zobrist. Had 8 home runs at AAA before going on the DL.
Here's a fly ball into right. Judge is in to get it. That's out number 2. Kenny, you have more, or do you want me to just continue doing my job up here?
Well, Joe, the question is which pitchers are going to be available, and controllable starters are hard to come by. There could be some potential free agents that are attractive. Texas not playing well. Yu Darvish could be there. Gary Cole's not a potential free agent. Don't know that the Pirates would trade within the division, but that's a team that has been willing to move guys as they get more expensive. And then, of course, there's Jose Quintana. Well, he's cross town. I don't think he's coming over here. Chris Archer, others as well. But we'll see how that plays out. But the point of it is the Cubs are going to need help. They know that. The question is how they get it.
Ken, thanks. We'll keep checking in with Kenny as we play here on the 6th of May. 2 out, nobody on, 1 ball, 1 strike, and a base hit through the left side by Albert Almora. First hit of the game for Chicago, and it comes with 2 out here in the second. So Almora's aboard, and the batter will be Javier Baez, who's done a little work to his batting average since we last saw him at Fenway Park. He's gone to work on his approach. He's lowered his leg kick a little bit, made better contact during the course of the week, and had a 4-hit game.
Yeah, I think this is a guy that'll struggle from time to time. He's a very, I don't say emotional, but likes to play with emotion. And the bigger the moment, sometimes he tries to do a little too much, and that will show up in his mechanics and aggressiveness at the plate.
Strike 1.
He, in the middle part of the postseason, was one of the Cubs' best hitters and had to move him up in the lineup. But the fear of that for Joe Maddon, I remember talking to him last year, was that might speed up his motor. That might cause him to want to do too much, and it's exactly what happened later part of the postseason.
Left side should be handled. Gregorius to second. The inning is over, and after 2 at Wrigley, 5-0 Yankees in this great ballpark. We'll be right back after a word from our local sponsor. From the city of Chicago and from Wrigley Field in particular, Spike Lee is in the house. Yankee coat on, Yankee hat, all the championships stitched in, and here's Gary Sanchez to lead it off. An RBI single, run scored for the young catcher back in the first inning as the right-hander Felix Pena misses down and away, ball 1. This is a very different team that Gary Sanchez came back to after working his way back from the strain in his biceps. He is no longer having to be the guy. He can be one of them. And here's a swinging bunt. Tough play. Base hit. Sanchez is 2 for 2. And on to start the 3rd inning for the Yankees.
Well, he'll take him any way he can get him because he's been in a little bit of a funk. You talked about the injury. That's going to be, believe it or not, his first hit off of a fastball off a right-hander this year, although minimal at bats. This guy terrorized right-handers last year on every category. And I think the misleading stat, without him, they were 20-5. With him, they've been 29-29. That's definitely going to change when he's doing his thing behind the plate and hitting monster home runs again.
Had 20 home runs in 53 games, and for a while had the Yankees hoping for a wild card spot last year. Here's another base hit, Gregorius, and the first 2 are on. That is now 9 hits for the Yankees through 2+ innings. And I'll ask you, former pitcher guy, this is not a lineup where you have a lot of easy outs for the Yankees right now, and that should get better as the year goes on. They don't have Greg Bird, their young first baseman that they had to put on the disabled list. Instead, they have Chris Carter, who's batting the number 8 spot. But man, they're playing right now without their DH as well, and Matt Holliday.
It really is amazing, and I think that's what's so surprising to Joe Girardi and the success they're having. But they get on base, they hit home runs, they love first pitch. The question's going to be for the Yankees on whether or not they can keep up the pace offensively. But I think everyone, when they talk about the Yankees, they go, what about their starting rotation? Is their starting rotation good enough? Their bullpen's unbelievable. The 4 guys at the end are going to rival what they had when Miller and Betances and Chapman were there. So the bullpen's the edge. Everyone knows that's the edge. If offensively these young players keep playing mature, oh my gosh, this is a team that's got a chance to compete in October for sure.
Here's a foul back to the screen. We just kind of went down this path, Kenny, with regard to the Cubs, but we'll do it with regard to the Yankees and how their rotation may look as the season winds on, if this is going to be what they can do offensively.
Joe, there's no question that if the Yankees are in it, they will be buyers. Now, it's unclear if they'll even have a spot in that rotation, because right now it looks pretty good. Now we can expect something to happen. Something always does. But Tanaka, good. Pineda, Montgomery, certainly. Sabathia struggled of late, but for the most part, pretty good. And Severino, for the most part, has been a revelation. At the same time, if there's a need, whether it's the rotation, the bullpen, somehow offensively, they'll address it, particularly if they feel they have a shot.
And they are absolutely loaded in the minor leagues after making those deals the last couple of years. Here comes a 1-2 to Headley, 2 on, nobody out. It's in the dirt, scooped up by Contreras. You remember the comment that their general manager Brian Cashman made when the Red Sox made the deal for Chris Sale from the White Sox. He said, well, that's a deal you make if you feel you're 1 player away. They may be in their rotation because of the depth of that bullpen and this lineup, 1 player away as Headley strikes out. The 3rd strikeout for Felix Pena is the first out here in the 3rd inning.
Well, I would think they're going to have some innings limits that Montgomery, let's just say he stays in rotation, he's going to be unrestricted. I would say the same thing for Severino because they bounced him around a little bit. And then the health of their rotation, if they can stay healthy. I just think it's amazing that Tanaka, we've been waiting for the shoe to drop. It hasn't. He's gotten better, and all he does is win.
2 on, 1 out. The batter is Carter, who popped up his first time, ball 1.
Pineda is the key. His inconsistency in the pass and the up and down, not knowing what you're going to get. If you get more of the Pineda that they've gotten this year, talk about a guy in an era of strikeouts. He could strike out 15 just about any game if his consistent slider and release point. That's the key with him, is the consistency of his mechanics.
He pitched well here yesterday. Severino gets the ball tomorrow night against John Lester. Here's a 1-1. Left side, tough play, and it gets past Bryant into left. Digging around 3rd and scoring is Sanchez, and it's 6-0 New York here in the 3rd inning. And Bryant did not keep that ball on the infield. Might have been thinking about trying to turn 2. Instead, it goes as an RBI hit for Chris Carter.
Tremendous top spin right there, and as he tries to guess where the hop's going to be to get that 2 ball, he just doesn't get any leather on it and goes the other way.
Yeah, you see the replay of that. They've charged Bryant with an error. So that falls in the category of a tough error. It's the 4th of the year for Kris Bryant. It makes it 6-0 and gives Montgomery a chance to do that. Show bunt, pull back, ground to short, over to second, double play, inning over. But another run because of the error at 3rd. 6-0 Yankees into the bottom of inning number 3. Energy Series goes to Talladega in the Geico 500. It all happens at 1:30 Eastern, right here on Fox. Bottom of the third inning, number 8 hitter will lead it off, and that's the pitcher, Felix Pena. He'll be followed by John Jay and Ben Zobrist. It's Jordan Montgomery. The lead's even bigger. It's 6-0 Yankees. Strike one. So Pena gets called up, added to the roster yesterday, and he's into the action here on Saturday night. Had to relieve Brett Anderson in the first inning. That's upstairs for ball one. Montgomery's 1-1, 2-1.
It's amazing when it goes like this. The bullpen sitting back going, come on, come on. We need one. Just somebody. We need a hero today. And then boom, you're right back in action, and you can feel how exhausted each guy intuitively starts thinking about the work that they've been in. Baltimore Orioles are just going through it. Oh my gosh, they get their starters gets ejected in the second inning. The next day's starter, 2 days later, gets line drive, gets knocked out of the game.
How about that? A walk to Pena leading off the third inning. That is a handwritten invitation for trouble given out by Jordan Montgomery, and with one on, nobody out, John Jay will be their hitter. MLB.com at bat is your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get club branded home screen icons, app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. Here's Jay. Opportunity for Chicago. Leadoff man is on, and that's a strike. Cubs have had 2 base runners, a hit by Almora with 2 out last inning, and now a leadoff walk to Pena. The pitcher, Jay, is fooled. 2 quick strikes.
That curveball out of left-handers, if there's one, I don't want to call it kryptonite, but one weakness the Cubs hitters have, it's the curveball from the left-hander. The Cubs take care of sinkers and fastballs for the most part, but the curveball could be an equalizer against this Cubs lineup.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Upstairs, Joe Madden described John Jay to us last weekend when we caught up with the Cubs and Red Sox at Fenway as an acquired taste. He said, I knew he was good. I liked him as a pretty good player, but until you see him every day, you have no idea how talented he really is. As he flares one into left center field, Gardner over to grab it. 1 on, 1 out. And the former Cardinal, short time with the Padres, first year with the Cubs, John Jay is 0 for 1. Back to the top of the lineup, Ben Zobrist.
Well, we did ask, and I asked Joe Madden about at what point, well, how do you gauge when certain numbers, you start playing the numbers game where guys can't hit left-handers, and he's got such depth and such flexibility to interchange, and he's sit around the 2-month part, you know, closer to 2 months.
Strike one.
And some of these guys have struggled against left-handers. The point is why I was asking. The weather doesn't help, of course, how it really hasn't warmed up for any consistency here in Chicago.
A 1 pitch, Zobrist, a ball and a strike. Zobrist struck out his first time. Montgomery retired the first 5 hitters he faced after his teammates got him 5 runs in the first. They've added to the lead. That's strike 2.
Zobrist in particular so far struggling against left-handers and struggling overall. This is a guy that you know his track record. He gets on base. Can obviously hit from both sides of the plate and play multiple positions.
Here's a little tapper that will stay in play. Good play by Sanchez. And Carter hung in there well at first for out number 2. Big-bodied Gary Sanchez popped out from behind home plate in a flash. And made a good play.
We're seeing some catchers that got pretty good arms if they went on the mound. Probably upwards of 95 miles an hour. He gets out of there and then watch this throw in one motion, picks it up and fires it. A little low, but as you said, Carter gets out of the way from the runner, getting there at the same time that his glove would be in the way.
So with 2 out and a runner at second, that's the pitcher, Pena. Here's Kris Bryant, who got the Cubs on the board yesterday with a first at bat home run, his 6th of the year.
Bryant on the flip side has been crushing left-handers. His last 7 games have been pretty good as well.
1-0. Fooled. Clunks one to short. Gregorius gets the out, and that sends this game into the 4th inning. Yankees will bat, leading by 6. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports, and by Hyundai. Great look at the city of Chicago, downtown. 6-0 Yankees on top, and the former Yankee Alex Rodriguez joins us from the studio. Man, there's a lot to talk about with this Yankee club. They are fun to watch, aren't they?
They've been unbelievable, Joe. Unbelievable.
We're going to talk about some of these players specifically. Brett Gardner will lead it off, top of the order. Then Aaron Hicks, who's a real sneaky, quiet, good player. Starlin Castro, and then the big kid, Aaron Judge. And I really want to talk to Alex about Aaron. But first up, it's Brett Gardner, who has doubled and scored and struck out. And now he hits one back to Pena, who's getting some big outs for this Cubs bullpen. 1 out. You have been around Aaron Hicks, who's stepping in. We'll just go one by one here, Alex. Hicks is 2 for 2 in this game, and I don't know if we knew how good he was when he was in Minnesota, but they like him, and you can see why.
Well, he was an early draft pick for a reason. You know, abilities has never been his issue. He's a scratch golfer. He's a switch hitter. He runs well. He has probably the best throwing arm of any outfield. But this year, he looks like a different player. He came in with a chip on his shoulder. He came to compete for a spot, and he looks incredible.
He takes a strike from Felix Pena with 1 out, nobody on. Hicks, as I mentioned, has the 2 hits. His average is healthy. You see it. Well over 300. He takes a good tight breaking ball for strike 2. Do you get a sense that this Yankee team is for real, Alex Rodriguez?
You know, I do, and they are for real, Joe. I spent a lot of time with them this spring training, and this is the first time in over 21, 22 years that they haven't been Goliath. They're David, and that's a different sign for them. They're feeding off that. For the first time, they're going under the radar. They have a great combination of young players and veteran players. I believe the young players are pushing the veteran players. Jacoby Ellsbury looks like a different human being this year. He's playing outstanding.
Yeah, and so while all these kids are getting a lot of the notoriety, and rightly so, whether it's Aaron Judge or Gary Sanchez or right on down the line, the veterans have really been good. Here's one hooked down into the corner. Back at the wall. It is a fair ball played by Zobrist, and the third hit of the game for the switch hitting, good golfing Aaron Hicks. And he's at second with one out. John Smoltz, another hit for the center fielder.
Another hit, another breaking ball over the middle of the plate. He stays on it. And with the environment and the wind the way it is, some of these pitches wouldn't matter. The Cubs have to make better pitches, and the hitters for the New York Yankees are on point on every mistake.
Brings in Starlin Castro. We were talking last time Castro was up, Alex. It's hard to believe he's only 27 years old. He's got a lot of baseball out in front of him.
He does, and you know what? He's a tremendous hitter. He has very special hands. We talked long about some of his routines, his work ethic, and if he bought into the Yankee system, we felt that he can be a guy that can hit 30 home runs and hit 100 RBIs and also play solid defense.
You talk about the hands of Starlin Castro, a guy who was a shortstop here and then had to switch over to second base when Addison Russell arrived on the scenes. But that hands category, Alex Rodriguez, that's God-given. That's not something that you can really develop, and he has them.
He certainly does, and when you spend time with him in the cage, the sound off the bat is just different. People forget how young he is. He already has over 1,000 hits. He's made a really nice adjustment at second base, but he's a guy that loves the game of baseball, and he wants to come and play every single day.
10 hits already for the Yankees as we play in the fourth inning, 6-0 New York. Here is 2-1.
Alex, one of the things I wanted to ask you, is it coincidence or is it more of a philosophy? A lot of guys on the Yankees seem to have that leg kick, getting it up, putting it down. A lot of guys in the lineup, of course, Judge on deck and Sanchez. Is that something that's preached throughout the Yankees?
Not really. John, one of the things that we preach in New York is we want our hitters to do whatever they want to do, but make sure they are on time. And one of the things that Judge did not do well last year.
Here's on time. Unloaded into left field off the bat of Castro, and welcome back to Wrigley. 8-0 New York, and Starlin Castro has his 6th home run of the year, his 2nd hit of the game, and the Yankees are having fun here at Wrigley Field. That was just a blast off the bat of the former Chicago Cub. How'd the hands look there, Alex?
Explosive. I mean, that's a great game. It's got to feel good coming back to the Chicago place he loves.
This ball was tattooed. There's that leg kick. Man. Wind's blowing in from left, and you wouldn't know it. Here's a check swing grounder back to Pena off the bat of Judge, who's not in on the fun. 2 out in the inning. But Alex, one of the main reasons why we wanted to have you on was to talk about Aaron Judge, who you've seen as a minor leaguer in your time with the Yankees. Tell us what stands out to you other than the size of this kid.
I mean, Joe, he's an unbelievable kid. He's an All-American kid, great athlete. He's 6'7". He looks like an all-pro NFL tight end, but he moves around like a shortstop, so he's very athletic. For me, he's a hybrid of Dave Winfield and Manny Ramirez. And this particular winter, he went home with a very specific goal. He wanted to work on 2 things. He wanted to neutralize that leg kick that I was talking to John about. And then the other thing he wanted to do was make sure his path played more like a Ferris wheel, where he can get the ball up in the air and not like a merry-go-round where he kept going around the baseball, and it was inducing a lot of ground balls to third base and shortstop.
Well, it's been unbelievable with his 13 home runs to lead baseball here a little over a month into the season. Alex, thanks for joining us. We will see you in the booth. I'll see you the 20th of May, I believe, at Citi Field when the Mets take on the Angels.
Be nice with me.
Oh, I will. Don't you worry. 3 balls and a strike. Thanks, Alex. Gary Sanchez 2 for 2. Batting with the bases empty, 2 out and 2 runs home. Pena's at least getting some outs. Here's one to the shortstop. Russell to his left. The inning is over, but Starlin Castro reminds Cub fans of what he can do to a baseball. He can put a dent into one. 8-0 New York. Back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Jordan Montgomery back to the hill, pulls the string. Rizzo, strike 1. Rizzo, Russell, and Contreras in an 8-0 game as the Yankees try to take the first 2 games of this 3-game set at Wrigley. 6th time these 2 organizations have met. Twice they've met in the World Series, in 1932 and in 1938. The Yankees swept. The Yankees are 18-4 overall against Chicago. Meeting for the first time since 2014 during interleague play. 0-2 on Rizzo. And a strikeout on 3 pitches. Second strikeout for Montgomery. Here are the numbers. You can see the bottom part. Talking about World Series matchups. And in 1932, the so-called called shot. Game 3 against Charlie Root. And the Bay went deep as the Yankees rolled, winning that series 4-0. 0-1 pitch from Montgomery is popped up on the infield right side. Carter drifts to it. 2 out.
The Yankees have been pretty good against winning teams this year as well. So not only the Cubs, but winning teams. And the Cubs, the biggest thing has been, if you can point to one thing offensively, struck out a little bit too much this year early on and not walking as much. Last year, of course, they didn't strike out much and they walked a lot. En route to what was an incredible start. They never looked back. Had one little hiccup in July, and then other than that, they were the most dominant team in baseball.
2 out, nobody on. Here's Contreras. That bottom note, by the way, on that little taped piece that we ran. So there were 38 Hall of Famers between the two organizations. 24 and 14. Yankees with 24, Cubs with 14. That's a swinging strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Montgomery, after I talked about it, was a written invitation for trouble with a leadoff walk to the pitcher Pena last inning. Got around that. Retired 5 straight. 2-1 the count.
Well, he's a guy that you just don't see a lot of drafted college pitchers. There's a lot of college pitchers, in my opinion, that can pitch but can't throw 95.
Contreras didn't like it. Well framed by Sanchez. 2-2.
And with his makeup that we've already talked about, his ability to pitch out and in and come out of the same slot, he makes it difficult. That one being a little low, I'm sure, for Contreras.
Strikeout ends the inning. That's 2 in the inning, 3 in the game. Jordan Montgomery putting up zeros. So's this guy. Inside the manually operated scoreboard at Wrigley, where the Yankees lead by 8. Well, the Yankees got the win yesterday with a 3-run 9th inning. They've had all the fun so far in this fun matchup in the month of May. 8-0 New York. 5th inning rolls in, and Rob Zastryzny just called up before the game as the Cubs designated Matt Caesar, a really good outfielder, young guy that they got a lot out of early last year when Kyle Schwarber went down with a knee injury. Caesar, as we said, is out of options, so they will lose him, it stands to reason, and they'll have 10 days to make a deal or He can go wherever. First pitch is down and away from Zastryzny to Didi Gregorius. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he's just funky enough as Zastryzny, and he did a nice job for him last year late. Fastball, you saw the breaking ball there. Change up. Little command issues every once in a while. Command in the zone.
Was pitching at AAA Iowa and had an 0-1 record, 1 save, and ERA just under 7, but they need fresh arms. 2-2. Gregorius, then Headley, then Carter. Here's a 2-2. Little fly ball into left. Coming to get it and making the catch is John Jay. 1 away. Kevin Burkhardt, what's up with a game break? Yeah, just getting better and better and better, and I guess he got the last laugh with what he was able to do against the Red Sox this past week as Chase Headley takes the ball down and away.
And thankfully we don't have that series for a while, because that was getting tough to watch.
Just ridiculous.
It really is. I mean, and the motion of baseball sometimes gets in the view of the eye of the beholder, right? And certainly some guys take it upon themselves to think they can do certain things to what they think is right, and they do it the wrong way, and it exasperates a situation and it gets out of control. And even the umpire's attention, being alert, throw out a pitcher on a curveball that hits a guy. Tough series.
That's high. 2 balls, 2 strikes, to the point where Joe Torre had to get on the phone and talk to each side, and it still continued. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Hard hit left side. Russell from the hole. Long throw, 2 out. Did you go down, John, during batting practice or when you were messing around? I know you love to shag fly balls in the outfield, but I don't know that the average fan has a real sense for how long that throw is that Addison Russell just made from the hole at shortstop. That is a long throw.
Yeah, and you know the surface is way different. When I was playing, messing around in the infield, the grass was really long. And then Sean Dunston with a cannon, he reminds me a little bit of that arm. But just shagging here was not one of my favorite places to shag.
Really?
Yeah. You can't rob a home run.
Here's a 2-0 back to Zastryzny by him to Baez. Carter is 0 for 3. Nice work by the lefty. Welcome back to the big leagues. Rob Zastryzny, 8-0 New York. telecast is sponsored by Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 40 straight years. MLB on FS1, the Yankees and the Reds. Obviously, these Yankees are fun to watch. Joey Votto and the Reds are in their path on Tuesday, 7 Eastern on FS1. Bottom of the 5th inning, 8-0 New York. And Almora will lead it off. Singled his first time. He has the only Chicago hit. They've got 2 base runners. A walk to the pitcher. The only blemishes on the record of Jordan Montgomery. Here's a 1-0. That's down 2-0.
Well, like we said, he pitched a major college. He was their Friday night pitcher in South Carolina, so no stranger to big moments. He's done a nice job with an 8-0 lead. Not the easiest thing to do when you're given that many runs to try and stay locked in. As a pitcher, you say it's 1-0, it's 1-0. You know it's 8-0. It's hard to stay 1-0 all the time and act as if it's not. But you learn how to do it.
Here is a 3-0. That's inside, and a 4-pitch walk. Second leadoff walk that Montgomery's allowed. First one didn't hurt him. Montgomery, a tall Yankee left-hander. Some notable tall Yankee starting left-handers, including his teammate CC Sabathia. John Candelaria on that list. Steve Hamilton. Randy Johnson was with the Yankees in 05 and 06, made 69 starts.
Seriously, when you're a pitcher and you've got too much time like I did, you start thinking of stuff like this.
I'm scared. Here is a foul outside third.
You start going around the league going, who would have the best all-around basketball team or football team, right? You start thinking of positions. So since we just had the draft, we'll stick with football. And let's just say I'm on the Yankees and I'm the quarterback. I got protection galore. I got CC Sabathia wherever I want him. You just mentioned all that height. You got wide receivers, tight end, Ellsbury, a great player. So you start thinking about who's got that best all football team. And right now I'm going to have to go Yankees. Holiday was a star recruit football quarterback. I believe going to go to the University of Oklahoma. So the Yankees got younger, got athletic, and they're huge.
Give you the overall size of this Yankee team. Getting off the bus, they're intimidating. Here's the 0-1 to Baez, flying into right. That ball will carry over the head of Judge and up against the wall. It's a double for Baez, and the Cubs have action in the 5th. A walk, a double, second and third, nobody out.
Well, 8-0 leadoff walk, never good. Backdoor breaking ball, not horrible, but Baez stays on it and goes the other way. Doesn't try to pull it. Judge playing in because of the wind. The wind has shifted more towards right field now. Still blowing in, but pushing to right field. Baez helping his team try to cut the deficit in this inning.
Because of the state of the bullpen and the tired arms down there, Zastryzny is going to stay in and hit. Takes a pretty good rip, flies one into center. It's shallow center. The runners will hold. Second and third, one out. Another game break. Here's Kevin again.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Yeah, he's 32 years old, and I think it's fair to say that people thought his best years were behind him. Now he's leading the Triple Crown categories in the National League on a team that looks really hard to beat in the NL.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're last year's version of the Cubs. They look like they could go run away and hide in that division. Offensively, they've been clicking.
Jay grounds one up the middle. Run scores. Cubs are on the board. RBI for Jay as he grounds out to Gregorius. It's 8-1.
Well, Jordan will definitely take the out, give up the run, keep away from a big inning potentially.
Cubs get the RBI ground out. They're 0 for their last 19 with runners in scoring position. Zobrist would like to change that. Runner at third, 2 out now. A strike hits the inside corner. Ben is 0 for 2. He struck out. He's grounded out on a really good play by the catcher Sanchez. It's an 8-1 game, and Montgomery not able to get around that leadoff walk for the second time. Here's one to Gregorius. Good young shortstop, high throw, and the inning continues. And to score Baez, it's 8-2, and down to second is Zobrist with 2 out. That one just took off out of the right hand of Didi Gregorius. E6.
Yeah, this one sails. He just gets the ball. You see the grip, kind of low 3/4, and then once it lets go, you could tell him he looked like he was ready to jump for Carter. Because as soon as he let the ball go, he knew it was going to be high. Watch this right here. He lets it go. It sails. Not much Carter could do with it.
Now Kris Bryant, he could make this a 4-run game. He's flied out, grounded out. Runner at second, 2 out. Run scoring on the error. Ball 1. A 4-pitch walk started the inning. Then Baez flipped a double into right. So Strisny flied out. RBI ground out by Jay. An error on a ball hit by Zobrist, by Gregorius, and now the 1-0 to Bryant. Two and 0. Cubs have 10 come from behind wins, including Thursday, the finale of that long rain-soaked series against Philadelphia. Two young guys talking it over, Gary Sanchez and Jordan Montgomery, trying to figure out a way to get the young and talented Kris Bryant.
That was just a reminder. 2-0 count. We got a left-hander on deck, even though he's a well-respected left-hander. The hottest hitter for the Cubs, Bryant, don't give in to the 2-0 count, even with the lead.
Bryant looking to blast one, takes a strike over the outside corner.
Good 2-0 curveball right there. There's the moxie, the calm, even though with lead as big as this one, he's not going to let, not just going to groove one in there.
A 24-year-old left-hander. First trip around the big leagues, brings it home on 2-1. 3-1.
I admit I look at way too many numbers in today's world. There's too many to look at. But the one thing I always look at, no matter what game I do, is I look, how does the pitcher do with the lead when he's behind and the score tied? He hadn't been doing as well with the lead until tonight. He did a much better job holding the lead. But there's something to be said for that. You know, when you're behind, you start pitching tight, and sometimes you pitch better because you know you can't give up a run. And when you have the lead, sometimes you get a tendency to relax a little bit and just not go through the motions, but
The edge is taken.
yeah.
Well, the edge could return here in a blink if a mistake is made to Bryant. That's out of play. There have been 3 errors in this game, 2 committed by Chicago, 1 now by New York. Sanchez with a quick visit out to the mound, and Bryant will wait for another 3-2 pitch. put 2 on with 2 out for Rizzo. And Anthony Rizzo could tighten this one quite a bit.
See,
Negative 3-run game.
And this is a good pitch. I mean, that's not the end of the world walk. The walk to start the inning was more of a problem with an 8-run lead, but not a walk there with a runner in scoring position. He has been very stingy with runners in scoring position on the early campaign. He has Montgomery both in general and with 2 outs, not giving up much.
Little life in the ballpark with the Cubs faithful hoping for Rizzo's 7th of the year. Oh for 2 so far, and takes a strike over the inside corner.
If you could throw 3 of these right here, Rizzo's going to have a hard time. He's moved up on the plate the last couple years against left-handers. Production's so much better than it was 3 or 4 years ago, taking away the leverage the left-handers had on him.
To the right side, and Castro makes the play to end the inning. Good job by the rookie left-hander, limits the damage. It's an 8-2 game after 5 at Wrigley. This is sponsored by Sprint. Works for me. And by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. Here's the rookie left-handed pitcher, Jordan Montgomery. I have a sense, John, that you were impressed with the way Montgomery ended up getting out of that 5th inning by getting Rizzo on the ground ball to the right side.
Yeah, especially the way he pitched Bryant. I mean, you can't get ahead of yourself, and you certainly can't get carried away with even if an error is made or a run is scored and they start creeping back. I've watched enough film on him just to feel that he is a very athletic and a pitcher. Like, he thinks like a pitcher instead of a thrower.
Zastryzny on 2-1, misses 3-1, and Jordan Montgomery would like to see what it's like to run the bases in the big leagues. Maybe. The score of 8-2. Here's a 3-1. A walk to the pitcher, Montgomery. And he's on to start this 6th inning. First man to reach against Zastryzny. Jacket is brought out by Tony Pena, and Montgomery says, I don't want it. You're surprised by that?
Yeah, always put it on, especially when it's cold. He'll learn.
Gardner.
He'll learn. He's young.
So just to go back over that, it's wise to put on the jacket when it's cold.
Yeah. Especially when you're in the game, man. You're pitching. You don't want your shoulder or anything to get cooled off for sure.
Any questions about the athletic ability of Contreras behind the plate?
He's something.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Gardner takes down 2-0.
I watched. I've seen a lot of guys get thrown out by some great catchers, but the one that he threw out, Hanley Ramirez in Boston, from his knees, no chance live when you're seeing the guy take off. He is very talented, very aggressive. Some people would like to see half the mound visits. But he is willing to learn and willing to be their everyday guy.
It's fun to watch. He's got some life back there. 2-1 pitch. Hard hit into center. That ball is caught by Almora. Nice diving catch. And he throws behind Montgomery, who's back to the bag. 1 out. What a play. He can play center field. Albert Almora.
This is the flexibility that Joe Maddon has. He doesn't seem to matter whoever he puts where. Defensively, this team has not been on their game this year like they were last year. They've made some errors, but they can flat out cover the baseball. When their pitchers hit their locations, they don't even have to shift. Last year, I think, ranked 29th in shifts, and they won the World Series.
1 on, 1 out, and the strike is at the knees to Aaron Hicks. Hicks has had a strong game already. 2 singles, a double, 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Strisny brings it. It's down and in, 2-1. Home plate umpire, by the way, is Alan Porter. Play here in the 6th inning. Crew chief Joe West is at first, and he will get the plate tomorrow night. Hunter Wendelstedt at second, and Ryan Blakeney is over at third. Here's a 2-1. Out of play, 2-2.
Country Joe with some CDs out there, some music. Did I ever tell you what I did final year of my contract?
Oh,
final year of my career?
Yes, but go ahead.
Why did it take that long is all I want to know.
I think if I'm remembering it correctly, you complimented Joe on his singing, right?
Well, I did that. That was just the straight see how he's doing, make him feel good. But when he had the plate in Boston.
Here's a fly ball into right. Zobrist is out of room.
And I just had the first base coach when he was at first base, knowing he was going to be the next day's umpire, and I was pitching. I said, ask Joe what song he wants to hear when I come out to the mound. So Joe gave him some, probably a song there's no chance he's going to find, right? That meant a lot to him. And so I put the young kids in the Boston clubhouse. I said, you got to find this song and you got to play it when I go out to the mound tomorrow. Sure enough, plays it. Joe started tapping his foot behind home plate.
Bigger strike zone. Everybody's happy. You go to the Hall of Fame. Here's an out at second, and got them both. How good is Baez on the turn? It becomes redundant. We say it so many times. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Cubs will back down 6. First inning, Aaron Hicks has had a really good game. Starlin Castro, the former Cub, with a 2-run blast into left, and Brett Anderson couldn't get through the second in his previous start. Got only 1 out in this start, and then left with a bad back. Addison Russell first up for the Cubs. Contreras and Almora will follow against Jordan Montgomery. There's a game break coming your way. Ball 1 upstairs to Russell.
Yeah, after the first, I mean, Joe Madden as a manager is going to try and put his team in the best situation to win every game possible. But this game became more of, I've got to find some innings. Someone's going to have to give me some innings to reset our bullpen that's already pretty tired.
They've cost him a win yesterday. Wade Davis, their closer, had pitched the previous 3 games, and so Hector Rondon, who was the closer before the Cubs got the big left-hander Aroldis Chapman from the Yankees last year, came on and gave up the 3-run home run to Brett Gardner and got the loss. That's a strike, and the count evens 2-2. That's foul. How about this stat? It had been 191 games for the Cubs since they had last lost a game leading by 2 or more runs after 8 innings.
Yeah, that's an impressive stretch. And
the Yankees did it to them in 2014, last time they were here. Wow. That's up and away. And a full count.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, the Yankees have something special. I don't know how long it'll continue, but they came back from a game down 10. They came back from a couple games late in the 9th with rallies.
Still a full count on Russell. When you talked to Joe Girardi about it before the game, he said, we have guys that battle, we will take walks, and we have a lineup filled with guys that will hit the ball out of the ballpark. Brett Gardner's had some week in that category. 3-2 pitch now to Russell. Instead, Montgomery wants to talk to Gary Sanchez. Joe Girardi is having fun in the city he once called home. Was a catcher at Northwestern in the mid-'80s with the Cubs 2 times, 89 to 92, and then back toward the tail end of his career. And as we said, his dad was a Cub fan. He grew up a Cub fan and became a Chicago Cub. In his 10th year now as the Yankees manager. There's one off the end of the bat. Into shallow left center, and Gardner comes on to make the catch. 1 out in the 6th. Here's Kevin Burkhardt with a game break.
The pitcher, Contreras.
It's just been a bad beginning to the season, and losing Madison Bumgarner to the dirt bike accident out until most likely after the All-Star break doesn't help. 1 out. Here's Contreras, strike 1. Wilson is flied to right, struck out, takes high, a ball and a strike.
Thing Contreras has done in his early part of his career is handled left-handed pitching.
This one skied into center for Hicks. Contreras 0 for 3. Coming up now is Almora. Grip the Moment, sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. Helping out Rob Zastryzny on that diving catch in the top of this 6th inning. And now batting with 2 out, nobody on. It's in the upper 40s temperature-wise. It feels a lot cooler than that with the wind blowing in from left. Strike 1 for Montgomery. Trying to get through 6 strong here tonight. Now Mora has been on base twice. The hit and a walk. Only 3 other guys have reached, and that misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, the Yankees have a unique rotation if it stays healthy and stays this way. 2 left-handers that not necessarily overpowering. Of course, CC having to change the way he's thrown over the course of his career. And then 2 power guys, Severino, Pineda, and Tanaka, adjusting from once a power pitcher. Tremendous split, learning how to pitch without that power all the time.
Unique New York. Unique New York. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 out, nobody on. You're Mr. Movie. You're Mr. Movie quote. Laying around the Braves clubhouse watching Dumb and Dumber 48 times.
Did I miss one? What was that from?
Unique New York. I think it's Anchorman, isn't it? 2 out, nobody on. Foul backing out of play.
Oh, I missed it. San Diego.
Let's just cut it off there. Well, the base is empty and 2 out. A 2-2 count on Almora. Into right, falling in a hurry, but there is Judge, and Montgomery is through 6. Yankees lead by 6, and back after this from our local sponsor. Nice break. Beginning. Watch out. Got to hang on to the ball. Tough to do with the gloves on. Best seats at every ballpark for every game. Visit MLB.com/tickets today. First pitch fouled away by Starlin Castro. Zastryzny is getting outs as Felix Pena did. Valuable outs for Joe Madden. After the Cubs fell behind 5-0 in the first, they trail 8-2 now in the 7th. Castro is lined out. The only time he's been retired. He's hit a 2-run shot and an RBI double. Seeing the ball well, leading the league in hits, and up on the count here, 2-1.
Yeah, he made a mechanical adjustment at some point last year and really has been able to stay on the ball. That front shoulder stays in, driving it with power.
That's fouled out of play right side, 2-2.
Before, you know, it's no different than the lead shoulder of a pitcher. It's the same thing for a hitter. If it doesn't stay in and you pull out or leak at all, you're going to not be able to drive the ball in certain places on the plate. Right now, he's been able to do that at both sides.
That is high for ball 3. Full count. Big guy who just made a fan, even a fan with a Cubs hat on, down the right field line. Moments ago, Aaron Judge will follow, and then Gary Sanchez. 3-2 pitch. Not close. Second straight inning for Zastryzny with a leadoff walk. Number 99, and the big 6'7", 282-pounder can wear that number. Think about great 99s in New York history. Mark Gastineau with the Jets. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, played with the Rangers, and now Aaron Judge. Nana. 80s rock with a 2017 flair. Strike one. No fun for Aaron Judge tonight so far. He's struck out, popped up, grounded out.
Whenever I see a guy's hot, whether it's the start of Thames in Milwaukee and they score a lot of runs, I just know when I go to the box score I'm going to see homer, RBIs. In a game like tonight, you would think, okay, this guy has been unbelievable. He's had to have contributed to the 8 runs. Sometimes it works that way. He has not so far.
And he's set up again. Fights it off. Fouls it back. Aaron Judge at the start of the game, 13 home runs. He's still obviously sitting at 13. But for the Yankees in their history, the most home runs the first 2017 team games of the season. A-Rod hit 14 in 2007. Then Judge this year, and Mickey Mantle in 1956. And Babe Ruth hit 12 in 1928 and had 12 before that in 1921. What a list. Judge is right there as he remains at the plate with an 0-2 count. Calling for it up. Foul back. That's what you were talking about earlier.
I think more of the league's going to be tempted to have to try that, you know, especially with 2 strikes. Get him to expand the zone because he's been patient, cut down on his swings and strikeouts. And when a guy's this strong, and you can start changing the elevation of where the pitch is, you got to find some things out about Mr. Judge.
That's in the dirt. He played some center field at Fresno State, so it tells you how good of an athlete he is with this size. I'm sure he's filled out as the years have gone on. He's got, for the most part, for a guy that's 6'7", 280, a pretty compact swing. And he's been willing to take walks. He's walked 15 times this season. Here's one into center field, and Almora handles it with ease. 0 for 4 tonight as Aaron Judge. 1 on, 1 out. He also seems to have the personality to handle the fame. And whether you talk to, well, we talked to Alex Rodriguez about him, or you hear from Derek Jeter, or you talk to his manager, or you talk to his veteran teammate Matt Holliday, or you talk to Ken Rosenthal, it seems like he's the right guy to handle fame in New York, Kenny.
Joe Girardi gave him the highest praise possible this week, Joe. He compared Aaron Judge's makeup, his personality, his approach to Derek Jeter's. Now, you mentioned the size and how he needs athleticism. Well, coming out of high school, his athleticism was compared to Blake Griffin's. But at the same time, it takes a whole package for a guy to succeed at his size. There is not a long list of players in baseball history who have done that, not a long list of position players. But Judge has that kind of makeup. Brian Cashman told me it's not cockiness. It's a respect for the game, opponents, the front office, and ownership, just like the attributes that people saw in Derek Jeter.
Yeah, great piece that you wrote, Kenny, during the course of this week, I believe, about the dozen players at 6'6" and above that have found some measure of success in the big leagues. As Ken Rosenthal said, it's not a long list. Obviously, you're talking about a bigger strike zone and more potential holes and a longer swing and all that goes with that size. But man, he's been awesome here at the start of the year, and not totally halved his strikeout pace from his taste of big league life at the end of last year, but come close to it. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Sanchez flies it down the left field line. Russell with a long run to get it. Good play, 2 out. Talk about size. Size mattering. Frank Howard, 6'7", 255 pounds, 382 career home runs. And then Dave Kingman, who played for a part of his career here in Chicago at Wrigley at 6'6", at 442, and Aaron Judge, 6'7", off to the good start with his 13 through 27 plus games. And with 2 out and a man on, here comes Gregorius. There's a list of minimum 1,000 plate appearances for hitters 6'6" or taller. Good swing by Gregorius, who missed the first 20 plus games with a strained shoulder he suffered playing for the Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic.
So the old saying wouldn't apply to Judge. He's hitting his weight. That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, he's bettered that.
Yeah.
It's like scoring your age in golf.
Aha. 16 years away from that.
I wouldn't put it past you, Mr. 50 plus. I was waiting for the follow-up articles. Tony Romo is trying to qualify for the U.S. Open. Where's the article about John Smoltz trying to qualify for the Senior Open?
Yeah, I'm going to lay in the weeds in my hometown on June 12th, try to accomplish that feat.
Senior Open will be covered by Fox. Help us out. Here's a strike 2 and 2.
Will I?
You'll wear a mic?
Absolutely. Sky's the limit. If I shock the world and get there,
you'll do everything.
Whatever. I'll bring you coffee. I'll wear the mic. I'll whatever it takes.
That is down. 3 balls, 2 strikes. I wonder if Mark Loomis is watching, our producer back in New York or Connecticut or wherever he was.
I will have to try and get out of the game, though, that I'm supposed to do on Saturday.
Oh, really? A little more confidence in yourself. You already. Here is a pitch that just missed high. Second walk of the inning. Third by Zastryzny. 2 on, 2 out, and the batter will be Headley. Out to talk is Contreras. 7th inning stretch is coming up. I just noticed, by the way, I don't think this was on the desk when we were doing the postseason here last year, but they have the words to take me out to the ball game taped down to the desk here for whoever comes in to sing at Wrigley Field.
I think that's a must. You know, you get a little nervous.
It's a must, but I mean, could they make it smaller?
No, there's no way to read that.
There's no way to read that. You've got to act. You've got to be out there singing to the crowd. I mean, you can't look down and read that. It's a tease. 2 strikes on Headley, and Pat Fitzgerald, the head football coach at Northwestern. That'll make Joe Girardi happy. Will sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," but they do it from a booth or 2 over.
Girardi so loves the Big Ten.
Loves it. He loves NASCAR. He loves the Big Ten. That is a rocket down the left field line, foul, and Headley, who's really had a bounce back start to the year after a down season last year, almost emptied the bases. This ball was smoked. And just fouled.
Yep, he did struggle last year mightily, and that is all but forgotten.
Trying to take advantage of the 2 walks that the lefty has given the Yankees. They already lead by 6. That's out of play.
Talked about how hard it is to repeat. Temporarily, the Cubs are given a little bit of hope to that division. It's all bunched together. Of course, St. Louis, Pittsburgh for the last 4 years have been contenders.
Good battle here from Chase Headley.
When the season started this year, you talked about Baltimore, Boston being the head and shoulders above everybody else from the acquisitions they made, and Toronto had such a high ceiling because of their starting pitching. Toronto has absolutely started much like San Francisco, and the Yankees the surprise so far.
Ball 1, blocked by Contreras. So Stephen Wright has been lost for the rest of the season for the Boston Red Sox. Going to have left knee surgery, so he's out. But David Price is on his way back with his schedule mapped out, so there's light at the end of the tunnel for the 17-game winner from a year ago.
And Buck Showalter just finds a way. Britton goes back on the DL. That's a big blow for what was a huge edge for their ball club. Starters don't give him a ton of innings. He relies on the bullpen, the home run. He just finds a way to win.
Here's a 1-2 pitch from Zastryzny. That's upstairs as Contreras tried to pull it back into the zone. 2-2. Yankees leading baseball with the percentage of their runs coming via the home run. They have only 1 home run tonight. A 2-run shot by Castro. 2-2 pitch here, and a strikeout ends the inning and sends us into the 7th inning stretch at Wrigley. Yankees lead 8-2. Time to stretch in Chicago. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by GoDaddy. Build a better website in under an hour for free at GoDaddy.com. That is a hotbed of activity. Gibson's, Hugo's is right there. Great hotels in that area, great restaurants up and down those streets. Place to be. Here's one off the end of the bat. Montgomery keeps on rolling. Baez is retired. One down in the bottom of the 7th. I know the Yankees were a playoff team in '95, and then Joe Torre shows up in '96. It was that youth movement. Nobody knew Derek Jeter was going to be Derek Jeter. Nobody knew Posada was going to develop the way he developed. Splitting time in that '96 season with the now Yankee manager Joe Girardi. Nobody knew that Andy Pettitte would become this great big game starter as he became, and certainly nobody knew that Mariano Rivera would be the best postseason closer in the history of Major League Baseball. It's going to be really fun to watch this young Yankee team develop and wonder if guys like Judge and Sanchez, and maybe a healthy Greg Bird, and now Starlin Castro and Gregorius, and the bullpen guys they have, if this is the start here in 2017 of a new wave of Yankee dominance in the AL East.
Well, it's an interesting shift, and what I mean by that is the Cubs have kind of made it the interesting part of it. They developed a lot of young core everyday players, went out and got veteran pitchers. We talked about the ones that are on free agent at the end of this year and the development of their star players where they go and get pitching. The kind of same thing really with the Yankees now. Some star players that could be on the horizon, and maybe they go get a pitcher or two when they have to because they've trimmed that payroll down. So what used to be and is a pitching era of dominant arms, the health concerns and the reliability, maybe see a shift where teams are going more position player style.
Count's gone at 3-0 with 2 out, nobody on John Jay. Montgomery's been impressive. Tyler Clippard is up in the Yankees bullpen. The base is empty, 2 out, a walk. That's the 4th of the night, handed out by the left-hander, and let's go to Kevin Burkhardt with a game break. All right, Kevin. Well, Matt Adams just kind of is a guy without a place to fit into that Cardinal lineup. It's his first home run. Cardinal team a lot like the team that wasn't good enough a year ago, albeit with Dexter Fowler at the top of their lineup. Here's a strike to Zobrist.
Cardinals are going to be interesting to watch this year, whether or not they have enough pitching, starting pitching, health-wise.
That's fair. Down the left field line and toward the corner. Jay will dig for third and come in to score easily as Zobrist keeps on running. He's got an RBI triple. It's 8-3. And that's going to be it for young Jordan Montgomery. Joe Girardi will be happy with what he gets out of his 24-year-old left-hander here tonight. Got the early 5-run lead and knew what to do with it. Exits here with 2 out in the 7th inning. Clippard will come in to pitch. 8-3 New York on top. welcome you back to Chicago and Wrigley Field. It's an 8-3 Yankee lead. A run is in the 7th inning for Chicago. Driven in by Ben Zobrist on an RBI triple with 2 out. Tyler Clippard will take over. There are the numbers for Jordan Montgomery. 100 pitches on the nose. Outstanding. Almost got through 7, allowed only 3 hits, but did walk 4. Allowed 3 runs. And leaves with a runner at third, 2 out. Clippard throws 1 pitch and gets a fly ball into center. A late break by Hicks, but he's there, and that ends the inning. Cubs put up a run. They've stranded 5 in the game, 8th inning. Now at Wrigley, 8-3, Yankees on top. See how much Zastryzny has left. He has pitched 3 innings, works the 8th now, and deals a strike to Chris Carter. Carter and Aaron Judge hitless in the lineup for the Yankees. Hits all over the place around those spots as Carter is jammed. Fouls away strike 2. A guy who signed a 1-year $3 million deal after a 41 home run season last year with Milwaukee, tied for the National League lead with Nolan Arenado. That is in the dirt, 2-2.
Well, the Cubs may not come back and win this game, but what they did is get these huge innings so far out of Zastryzny because of what they're dealing with tomorrow night. Of course, another game against these Yankees. They have to reset their bullpen.
Carter fouls it out of play. You saw Rob Refsnyder on deck. He'll bat for Clippard, who will end up throwing 1 pitch and getting the 1 out he needed to end the 7th. Here's a 2-2. Starters for tomorrow. It's a night game. Severino against Lester. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Fly ball into right center field. Pretty well hit. Back is Zobrist on the track. 0 for 4 is Carter, 1 out in the 8th. Play ball is MLB's initiative to inspire all forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To learn more, go to playball.org.
I mean, it is May, right?
Yes, theoretically. On the calendar it is. Temperature wise it is not. It is down around 40 wind chill here in Chicago at the moment. Two 2-0 from Zastryzny. Talking about Joe Girardi coming home. There are more family connections in this game tonight, and they involve, well, an interesting story, one from each side. We'll get that from Ken Rosenthal right now. A 1-out walk to Refsnyder. Ken Rosenthal, an interesting story between the Yankees and the Cubs.
It is, Joe. Yankees third base coach Joe Espada is the brother-in-law of Cubs first base coach Brandon Hyde. Hyde's wife Lisa is the sister of Espada's wife Pam. Now these guys go back a long way. They met in 2006 in the Marlins organization with the Greensboro Grasshoppers of the South Atlantic League. That was A-ball. Hyde was the manager of that team. Espada was the hitting coach. The following year, Hyde gets promoted to Double-A. Espada moves to the Florida State League in Jupiter, Florida. That is where he met Pam, his wife, and it's a very proud moment for the family this weekend. They're all fired up.
Great. So great between the Espadas and the Hydes. And so far, it's the Espadas who have had more fun with a win yesterday. Compliments of the guy at the plate on a 2-out, 2-strike, 3-run shot in the 9th. And an 8-3 lead here in the 8th inning tonight. One on, one out. Zastryzny misses outside. So I'm going to quiz you now. Who's Pam married to, John? Espada or Hyde? I don't know the answer.
I was enamored with the story.
Here's a 1-2.
That detail I kind of kept out.
They, however, have been able to keep it straight. Refsnyder at first with 1 out and a 2-2 count. Zastryzny with another. Slapped at by Gardner and fouled out of play. Hicks has had a 3-hit night. He's on deck. Yankees went 1-4 to start the year. They've won 17 in the next 22 and lead tonight. Base hit. The opposite way off the bat of Gardner. A walk, a hit, 2 on, 1 out in the 8th.
Doing this for a long time, and you could just see, having seen a lot of your teammates go through funks and streaks. And boy, when it's going good for guys, it is going good. They stay on the ball. Last night's 3-run homer with 2 outs we've already talked about. Gardner heating up. The Yankees offensively have been fantastic. You talked about that start 1-4. They went home and just looked like they were going to never lose at home.
Here's a strike. They're 12-3 overall at home. The Yankees are by far the best in the big leagues, and a "Let's Go Yankees" cheer here at Wrigley. The Cub faithful don't like it. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Hicks. Ball and a strike. This guy was a find for Brian Cashman. He liked him. He went out and got him. Been in the big leagues with the Minnesota Twins. Had seen what he could do. Off to a great start, hitting .344. 5 home runs already. Didn't hit 5 until August last year. So he fits right in for these Yankees, who lead with 45 home runs as a team. They are putting up a ton of runs.
Yeah, I mean, that's more like it. When you think of their stadium and you think about the team that they have historically built, homers have been part of the Yankees. Last year was not the case for the most part. And this year they've acquired some guys that help out.
That is a blast to left center field. What a night. Aaron Hicks with a 3-run shot. A 4-hit night, and Hicks now with 6 home runs. It's 11-3, Yankees on top. Two homers tonight and 47 for the Yankees through 28 games now.
He went down and got it. And got it he did. And a wind blowing in, but he hits this under the wind. And it's out quick. One of the things that's interesting about the renovations here is that big scoreboard that they've added in left field. If you can hit it below that on a line, even if the wind's blowing in, you would think that that has contributed to a little bit of a blocking of the wind. If it's high, it doesn't matter.
Here's another laser into left by Starlin Castro. What a night for him. He's been on base now 4 times. You talk about Castro being 27 years old and a 3-time All-Star with the Cubs. I remember Steve Horn, our editorial consultant, and I were talking about this morning that Castro was such a big deal when he got to the big leagues. The first player born in the 90s to get to the big leagues when he came up. And then it seemed like about 10 minutes later, he was the old guy and shoved over to second base because Addison Russell was picked up from the A's in a deal that Theo Epstein made. And who knows what the limits are for Starlin Castro and what kind of a year he's going to put together in the midst of this lineup with the protection this guy provides. Aaron Judge, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Castro, being as young as he was, got some unfair attention, some lapses in the field, if you will, a couple young things that just magnified itself, but always could hit.
Castro, by the way, made his major league debut 7 years ago tomorrow. Had a 6 RBI game. His first crack at big league pitching. Hit a home run, went 2 for 5. The first player to record 6 RBIs in his debut. Came against the Reds. 2-2 the count on Judge, and time called.
Well, for Joe Madden, he, despite the runs given up by Zastrinski, he is going to give him the old attaboy thank you.
Breaks the bat at Judge. Gets the double play.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for he having to stay in that long, but what a job he's done for the Cubs.
How about Hicks? A 4-hit game, a double, a 3-run shot, 2 singles, 11-3. Yankees on top. Telecast is sponsored by KFC's new spicy crispy zinger chicken sandwich. It's finger licking good. And by AARP, real possibilities. Bottom of the 8th inning, Cubs bat 11-3. The lead was 8 after 3.5. It's 8 again. Jordan Montgomery, the rookie left-hander, on his way to his second win in the big leagues. As Tommy Lane, a former Boston Red Sox left-hander, fires a strike to Rizzo. Rob Refsnyder stays in the game at second. Pitcher bats in Starlin Castro's spot. That's down, a ball and a strike. Starter for the Cubs, Brett Anderson, went 1/3 of an inning, allowed 5 runs on 6 hits. Left with a muscle pull in his low back, but wasn't effective while he was out there. And it's been Felix Pena and Rob Zastryzny since. Rizzo out in front of that pitch, 1-2.
Lane, another one of those crafty left-handers. The hitters don't quite pick it up. Sneaky fast slider. You saw the kind of unorthodox delivery, low 3/4.
Rizzo stays up there. Anthony 0 for 3. Has started the season .229 with 6 home runs and 17 RBIs. The Cubs don't have a hitter in the top 10 in any of the Triple Crown categories so far this season. One, 2, 2-2.
Well, you can see on a delivery from a left-hander to a left-handed batter, this is going to be funky and tough to see. You see the glove go out. Just creates an odd angle to pick it up from.
As Rizzo out in front, reaching for it. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Tomorrow on Fox, the NASCAR Monster Energy Series goes to Talladega, the Geico 500. It all happens at 1:30 Eastern on Fox.
You ever been to a NASCAR race?
I have. I got to start one.
Wow. That's something I got to check off the list. I've never gone to one.
It is incredible to hang over the track and start. Feel the power of those things going by underneath.
Oh, so you didn't just say start your engine?
No, no. I got to wave the flag.
Oh.
Here's Addison Russell with 1 out, nobody on. Yes, you do, Mr. Atlanta Brave. You can't find your way onto a starters thing down there. You got pulled. You can make it happen if you care. Two 2-0 the count. Lane finds the strike zone. 2-1. Tommy, one of 3 left-handers Joe Girardi has in his bullpen, with Chasen Shreve and obviously a Aroldis Chapman. That's into the corner. It is a fair ball, and Russell is on base for the first time tonight. He's going to dig for 3 and make it. Second inning in a row for a Cub triple. Zobrist last inning, and now Russell with 1 out here in the 8th.
Well, those are the 2 parts where you can get triples in this ballpark. When the wind's blowing out, of course, it's home run haven for hitters. But when the wind's blowing in down the right field line and left field line, you see where it jets out right there. And depending on how it comes off, the ivy not fully thick enough yet because the sun and the heat is yet to get here. But Russell has plenty of legs and speed to get to third.
I would guarantee you Joe Madden was holding his breath when Addison Russell was digging for a triple and then had that awkward hand first slide. It looked like his left arm got stuck. but got right up and didn't ask for any assistance. Here's an 0-1 that's up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wilson Contreras 0 for 3. Jordan Montgomery, the starter, 6 2/3, 3 hits allowed. That's it. Did walk 4, allowed 2 earned runs, 3 total. And he's on his way to his 2nd win. That's in the dirt. Scooped up by Sanchez, 2-1. Lane ready with a 2-1. That is down. Here's that slide into 3rd, and that left arm got caught just a bit, but a triple nonetheless for Addison Russell. Contreras trying to bring him home, and instead he draws a 1-out walk. A lot of walks issued here tonight. That is 5 handed to Chicago. There have been 4 handed to the Yankees.
Yeah, the pitchers haven't been super sharp, and part of that's got to be the conditions, the wind, the cold. It's not what you would think in May you'd be dealing with, and the feel of the baseball is definitely important to execute your pitches. So part of this could be due to the weather.
There's a strike to Almora. John, how did you deal with cold weather?
Not very well. I did not like it, and I grew up in Michigan, so that's a poor example of my my roots. But
yeah.
But you got to remember, I mean, I'm in Atlanta now longer than I was in Michigan, and I love the heat. And the heat in Atlanta, certainly we thrived on it as pitchers, but I did not do well and couldn't find any kind of comfort when the conditions were cold.
Runners at the corners, 1 out, an 0-1 count on Almora. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's why there's kind of this unwritten understanding, let's say, on nights such as these, where they will not really pin a pitcher down as far as getting a grip on the ball with help. We had that back in the 06 World Series with Kenny Rogers with that pine tar that was so obvious on his pitching hand, but the Cardinals really didn't want to complain about it because their guys were doing it too.
Well, the one thing that's always a mystery to me is that the hitter has gloves and pine tar on his bat. And to your point, hitters don't really complain. They want to know that the pitcher knows where the ball's going. And the argument that I've heard from other people who really have never pitched don't understand, that doesn't create movement. It just creates grip to where you can throw the proper pitch that's needed. But nonetheless, you know what we're getting closer to? We're getting closer to the Japanese style baseball that comes with the tackiness on it. That's what we're getting close to in baseball. I don't understand why we never have had that in our game yet. You know, the old days where the umpires used to rub up the baseballs with the Mississippi River mud, or they don't do that anymore. As the clubhouse kids do it. But literally out of the package in Japan, you can pitch with that baseball. So they're trying, I think, from what I understand, trying to get the tint or the color of the baseball changed so it's not so white. And therefore, you wouldn't have to really have that problem anymore.
Interesting. And so these baseballs come out of the box and they get rubbed up with mud so that there's some grip. That's out in front of the plate. Fair ball. Throw to second for the out. Gregorius wasn't really on the bag, so instead of trying to turn 2, he just laid the glove and the hand down, and he tagged Contreras for out number 2. Good aggressive play by Sanchez, leading by 8.
You could see Gregorius didn't exactly know where the bag was there and got caught off guard, so therefore just puts the tag, and awkwardly it gets Contreras, making sure he's okay right there, and just checking the runner from third, making sure he's not going home.
And now Baez will be the hitter. See the arm strength of Gary Sanchez. He can wing it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Two good young catchers on display in this game and in this series between Sanchez and Contreras with great arms. Here is a pitch down for ball one to Baez, who's 1 for 3.
I mean, if you really think about it, the Yankees went and got Brian McCann, signed him to a long-term deal, but the emergence of Sanchez, McCann's now in Houston. They're seeing this guy, the ability to play defense and hit a lot of games. Of course, the DH, I'm sure he'll spend some of those days in the DH, but last year I've never seen anybody throw themselves in competition of a rookie of the year in like half of a season.
His August was insane. As we said, ended with 20 home runs in 53 games. And he's now the second fiddle, the headliner for the Yankees, is the guy standing out in right, Aaron Judge. And they've got Greg Bird, who is on the disabled list with a bone bruise in his right ankle, who had an unbelievable spring training, but hasn't been healthy as the count goes to 3-1 now on Baez. Bird hit 8 home runs during the spring, missed all of last year with shoulder surgery, but was impressive when he got the chance in 2015. Look out. Dangerous foul ball into the seats, and miraculously nobody was hurt.
Wow.
She's saying that hit her arm. That thing was blistered into the seats. Wow. Runner at first will go. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Baez. Lane. That's fair down the left field line. Baez will dig for second and now hold. A run is in. It's an 11-4 game, and Baez has hit the ball hard twice. 10th RBI of the season for Javier, and it's 1st and 3rd again with 2 out.
See how he coils and uncoils. Tremendous power ability out of Baez, cutting down on strikeouts.
They'll bring in Miguel Montero, who's really off to a good start in a lot of different ways. Not only has he had a nice beginning to the year with his 3 home runs, his .385 average, but he and his wife both became U.S. citizens this past week as he cuts it loose. A big swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 pitch rather, and 1 strike. Oh, 1 pitch. That squirts away, and Baez down to second. Ahead of the throw by Sanchez, with Almora holding at third with 2 out.
Baez by nature is going to be aggressive anyways, no matter what the score is. His instincts are pretty incredible. And as you mentioned, the slide by Russell, maybe the aggressiveness there by Baez. Joe Madden would have liked to have been a more conservative approach.
Goes down as a stolen base for Javier Baez, his 2nd of the year. Montero had one glorious moment last postseason. It came in the NLCS against the Dodgers when he homered into right. Grand slam. Here's a kicked ball at second by Refsnyder just into the game, and 2-run score to make it 11-6.
Yeah, that was a tough play. I don't know. I would have ruled this a hit, but that one catches the grass, the cut of the infield. He gets in between there, and the ball just did not play the hop as well.
Goes down as a hit and a couple of RBIs, and that spells the end of the night for Lane. Left-hander is gone. A pitching change in the 8th for the Yankees. Lead is now 5. Welcome back to Chicago, Illinois, home of the world champion Cubs. Trailing here tonight by 5 as we play in the 8th. And you see this series, Yankees have outscored the Cubs by 6, out-hit them by 15, and runners in scoring position. One of the reasons why. Adam Warren was a part of the Cub championship a year ago. He started the season with Chicago. Here's a slider for a strike. Yankees made a couple of deals and got both players back. They traded Warren and got Castro. Got Adam Warren back in the Chapman deal. They traded Aroldis Chapman and got him back as a free agent. Jay hits one down into the corner. Long run. Gardner won't get there. Fair ball. Digging for third is Montero. It's a double for John Jay, and the Cubs are trying to get back in this game. Ben Zobrist will be the hitter. Second and third, 2 out.
The Cubs are picking down the left field line and right field line. Staying away from Gardner. He's probably thinking, my gosh, there's a lot of room over here that I can cover, but next to that wall is not one of them.
By the way, in case you want to know this info, they changed the stolen base for Javier Baez to a pass ball. It's factored into the inning. A 3-run inning, a chance for more, and Zobrist takes a ball down and away. Dellin Betances is up for the Yankees in their pen. And Brian Dunsing, the left-hander, is up for the Cubs in theirs.
Certainly not what Joe Girardi had in mind to get the latter part of his bullpen going.
This will go down for Joe Girardi in the category of it's never easy. There's some stress left in this one for the 10th year manager for the Yankees, Joe Girardi. Here comes a 2-0. 2-1.
Everything Warren does. Really good delivery, quick fastball, 93, but it seems quicker because he's got that good slider and changeup combo that speeds up his fastball when he does throw it.
Two-one. 2-2. For the ball game yesterday, Aroldis Chapman got his ring in front of the crowd here at Wrigley Field, and Adam Warren got his ring in more of a private ceremony. He said he wished he had pitched better. He didn't really show the Cubs just how talented he is, but he has found his slider again, and he has started off this season virtually unhittable.
Yeah, him, Flipper to see the Chapman. Said thanks for the ring, and I'm going to get the save tonight. Or in the day, which he did.
They don't win it without him, period. 2-2. Fouled back. You and I have talked about it before. But the 9th inning Aroldis Chapman pitched in Game 7 was as impressive as anything he did all year after blowing that lead in the 8th inning to go back out there, keep it tied, and the Cubs won it in the 10th. He got the win.
Yeah, it really was unbelievable. You can imagine all the air of the balloon getting out right there with the emotion. The lead he gave up.
Strikeout ends the inning. And Adam Warren comes in, gives up the double, gets the strikeout. We go to the 9th inning on a Saturday night at Wrigley Field. 11-6, Yankees on top. One of his catchers, Miguel Montero, to pitch. Second time he's pitched in the big leagues. Worked last July 3rd, and See how long this half inning is. 77-mile-an-hour pitch to Gary Sanchez for ball 1.
That's the first for me. I got scouting reports on every pitcher, but I don't have one on Montero. I can only go from his warm-up pitches where he was missing on that side of the plate every single time. So not really able to stay back.
There's not a lot of deception to this delivery. The crowd gets a thrill to see a strike, but it's that classic catcher delivery right off the ear, and these hitters get a good look at the baseball.
So this is catcher to catcher to catcher, right?
Yep.
Catcher behind the plate, the catcher hit, catcher on the mound.
Sanchez has 1 home run so far this season, 2 hits in this game, and Montero throws strike no. Leadoff walk.
Well, you certainly can understand why Joe Madden, you know, you hate it as a manager having to go to this scenario.
Is this something Bobby Cox would do?
Never did it in his big league career. Never had a position pitcher pitch. He didn't believe in it and just never did it, which is amazing to have that kind of career and never.
Gregorius gets out of the way of that pitch from Montero.
And for these reasons, you know, I mean, yeah, maybe for the fans, they kind of get a kick out of it. The hitter's got nothing to gain at the plate.
Two and 0. Three and 0. Dunsing was up earlier.
Dunsing would have been in the game had they scored a couple more runs, I got to believe, and cut it to 3.
3-1. It's still just a 5-run game. I mean, I get it. It's been a long week for this bullpen. Good work by Felix Pena, who went 3 2/3, and Rob Zastryzny, who went 4. That could be an out. Rizzo out at second. No return throw to first as Montero missed that part of spring training. 1 on 1 out as Gregorius grounds out.
He made this real easy for everybody. You got it. Whoops.
Nope.
No, stay. Don't throw.
1 on 1 out for Chase Headley. He's had some good swings tonight, but 1 hit. It was a 2-run double back in the first. Ball 1 low.
Turned one over right there.
.0 is down again. Nine out of the strike zone, 3 in it. Now 4. And the count 2-1. Two balls and a strike with a runner at first in a 5-run game. That's another strike. 2-2. It's up to 81 with the velocity. All right, the crowd's back.
The Yankees had a weird game against the Orioles where Brian Mitchell, who pitched an inning, then went to first base, played a position that he wasn't familiar with.
Line drive out, no other play. Hard hit by Headley. A 1-for-5 night for Chase, and the batter will be Chris Carter.
Now, this would be the guy I'd be nervous about. Chris Carter. If I were Montero, just from the standpoint of get him to pull it.
You know what Chris Carter's thinking. It's his first year with the Yankees. Hit 41 home runs last year. Only has 1. I guarantee you he's not taking this at bat lightly.
No.
Montero's 0-1 pitch. Ball and a strike. Asking the home plate umpire, Alan Porter, where that missed.
It's caught Lackey a lot.
And then missed up and away. Here comes a 1-1. Wide strike in the count 1-2. Who says complaining doesn't get you pitches in the big leagues? Crowd loving it. 1-2. Literally behind him, and down to second is Gregorius. I'd say this got away.
Just a bit outside.
Look at Montero's reaction. Sorry. Second big league pitching appearance for Miguel Montero. He gave a leadoff walk, got a ground out, a line drive out. 2-2 pitch is not close. Good job by Contreras to keep the count full.
Changeup, 68.
Three-two pitch. 2 walks in the inning, and that means that Rob Refsnyder will get a chance to hit. Two on, 2 out. Ball 1. Contreras with some instruction as he fires it back to the mound. 1-0 pitch. High fly ball into center. Back to grab it is Almora, and a scoreless inning put up by Miguel Montero. Cubs, if they come back and get 6, will get them a win. Bottom of the 9th. 13 hits. The Cubs 6 runs on 7, 3 total errors in the game. Ronald Torreyes takes over at second base for New York. Warren back to the hill, and his first pitch to Bryant is in for a strike. Adam Warren finished off the 8th inning. He gave up a double to John Jay, but struck out Zobrist. Runners at second and third. That skips in, a ball and a strike. It'll be Bryant, Rizzo, and Russell if anybody gets on. Contreras. Here comes a 1-1. Popped up into right. Judge is there for out number 1. Hitless night for Bryant, 0 for 4 with a walk. The prevailing moment of the game, sponsored by the Hartford. And it's Aaron Hicks with a 3-run shot that came in the 8th. Part of his 4-hit night against the Cubs. The second Yankee all-time with 4 hits in a game against the Cubs. Bill Dickey, who has a plaque in Monument Park, 1938, had 4 hits in Game 1 of the World Series. Strike 1 on Rizzo. Rizzo hitless, Bryant hitless, Contreras hitless. 1 out, nobody on, nothing in 1. The count on Rizzo. And that's too tight, a ball and a strike. Yankees trying to go 19-4 all time against the Cubs. Here's a 1-1. Strike 2. Severino and Lester in the finale of this 3-game set tomorrow night here at Wrigley. 2 out. A pair of strikeouts tonight for Rizzo. And a pair of strikeouts in the game for Warren, who's 1 out away from nailing down the Yankees' 19th win of the year.
Yeah, Warren is doing what most of the pitchers would be able to do right now. When the game is totally changed, when you get 5 runs in the first, you pitch differently, you hit differently, and the Cubs have been trying to battle back, and the Yankees been really in control this whole game. Going to take the series with this win and try for the sweep tomorrow.
Strike 1 on Russell. Here it is in straightaway center field. The story of the night, 5 runs in the first inning, and the Yankees really haven't been challenged. Maybe for a moment last inning in the 8th, but Warren got around further damage. The producer of this game is Pete Macheska. The director is Matt Gangle. The associate director, Brian Biederman. Broadcast associate, Brian Colucci. 1-1 pitch. Strike 2. Meanwhile, the Cubs are about to fall under 500 at home. Start the year 16-14. Through their first 30 games, they were 25-6 through their first 31 a year ago. On their way to 103 wins. Here's a 1-2 to Russell. 2-2. The winner will be Montgomery. He'll go to 2-1. The loser, Anderson, he could not get through 1 inning. Went 1/3, allowed 5 runs on 6 hits. Two. Full count.
2 pretty good pitches.
caught a piece of the mask of Sanchez, who got one directly into the center of his mask in yesterday's game, his first game back off the rehab assignment from the disabled list. Was dazed for a moment, but able to answer the bell tonight. Another 3-2 pitch. Fly ball into right, pretty well hit down the line and slicing into the seats with the wind pushing it that way. It stays full.
Well, there'll be some general concern about the Cubs rotation. I don't think there's going to be concern about them in the long haul, but people will start feeling, okay, we got to turn this thing around. Joe Maddon will be patient. He'll believe in his starters. John Lester's the right guy on the mound tomorrow after the bullpen has been exhausted, to give them some relief. But they're going to have to find a way to get a little better start to their games, because the first inning's becoming more than just a theme.
An ERA of 11.40 for the Cubs in the first inning. Another 3-2 pitch. Strikeout ends the game, and the Yankees win this one 11-6. Montgomery over Anderson, and the Yankees, after starting the season 1-4, have now won 18 of their last 23. It's been impressive in Joe Girardi's young New York Yankees team, leading the AL East by a game over Baltimore in a game that lasted 3 hours and 19 minutes.